Good morning, gang. Happy Friday morning. Okay, I'm going to start this video with a disclaimer here. I am not trying to freak anybody out. This is not, everything I'm going to talk about here is not inevitable or anything. It's not like, oh my God, go get in a nuclear bunker or something like that. I'm just letting you know what's going on because the activity and the talk is certainly being ratcheted up, and it's certainly worthwhile that we are aware of what's going on because, of course, as usual, our media is hardly, if at all, talking about anything like this. So you guys remember about 9 months ago, there was all the talk about the Poseidon torpedo that the Russians had said they were building. Okay, this was that nuclear torpedo that could go 50 miles an hour and, it was basically an unstoppable weapon. Okay. Well, this was reported by TASS a couple of days ago that the Russians have completed the missile and they are now in the process of loading them onto the Belgorod submarine. Okay. And to give you an idea, the Belgorod submarine, it's an Oscar II class. It is the world's largest submarine. It's bigger than any Ohio-class submarine that the United States has. Okay. Back in December, there was a whole bunch of questions. Where's the Belgorod submarine? Where's the Belgorod submarine? And nobody knew it. You know as well as I do, everything is tracked, and they lost this thing. This is what I'm saying. We wound up in a real hunt for Red October. Now, the submarine has been located and satellite filmed in Severodvinsk, which is the main port, and I'll show you where this is on a map so you guys know here. Main port in northern Russia, up with their northern fleet. This is north of St. Petersburg. But the northern fleet, this is this is their largest submarine base in Russia. It is up there, moored, waiting to be loaded with these submarines, or waiting to be loaded with these torpedoes. Now, why is that so important? Okay. Well, if you go back, again, about 9 months ago and take a look at Russia Channel 1, all right, which is basically the most popular TV channel in Russia, Dmitry Kiselyov was on, and I'll show you this video real quick here, but he was talking about how these torpedoes are capable of causing a 1,600-foot high tidal wave of radioactive seawater, and they could literally make Britain disappear. Obviously, Britain's a ally, and the whole point of the Poseidon was to be a retaliatory weapon against the West. Obviously, the United States is included in that. Now, I want you to remember this. Should anything ever happen, everything would start with ICBMs, land-based, back and forth. If you have a second wave, or if you want to talk about Russia to the U.S., U.S. to Russia, that being first and second wave, the third wave would be nuclear submarines launching, in our case, ICBMs, but in Russia's case, not only ICBMs, but they can also launch something that is completely submerged, and there is no technology to take these out. I want you to watch this video real quick. Scary thought. Okay. Now, why do I bring all this up now? And this is why it's important to pay attention to. Dmitry Medvedev, who is the former president of Russia, pre-Putin, okay, still a powerful figure in Russian government, came out yesterday and is now starting to subtly threaten nuclear war. Okay. He put up a Telegram post that says, the defeat of a nuclear power in a conventional war may trigger a nuclear war. Nuclear powers have never lost major conflicts on which their fate depends. Okay. What he's talking about is if Ukraine somehow, someway, and the entire West, okay, pushes back Russia, what is Zelensky's idea? Does Zelensky talk about going into southern Russia? Okay, he has talked about it. Okay, going into Rostov-on-Don. I mean, turning everything from Lugansk and Donetsk and moving into Russia. I mean, Zelensky is a narcissist. You think Trump's bad? Zelensky's tenfold. Okay, in regards to a narcissist. Okay. With all of Medvedev's comments, the Kremlin came out and said they are in full accordance with Moscow's principle. Okay. The Kremlin, Putin, is agreeing with what Medvedev said. That's important. Okay. They may be, Russia still has their policy of only retaliatory. But if Zelensky and, in part, NATO go into Russia, yeah, now you got that. So everybody goes, okay, fine. So what? They're blustering and, Medvedev talking, Putin talking, et cetera, et cetera. We've heard it all before. This is where we take it one step further. The Russian Orthodox Church, according to Patriarch Kirill, okay, who is basically the equivalent of the Pope, all right, and I want to read this to you. This is a minute-long quote, but this is what the Patriarch of the Russian Orthodox Church said, okay? Any attempt to destroy Russia could spell disaster for the entire world. The root of the problem is that some madmen believe that Russia, which has powerful weapons and is populated by extremely strong people, who had never given in to the enemy and has always emerged victorious, could be defeated under the current circumstances. Neither would it be possible to impose on them certain values that cannot even be called values, so that they would be like everyone else and obey those who have the power to control most of the world. We pray to the Lord that he enlightens those madmen and helps them understand that any desire to destroy Russia will mean the end of the world. That's coming out of the religious leader. Imagine the Pope talking about a war and saying, trigger the end of the world. Okay? He goes on to say, again, about Russia never losing a major conflict on which their fate depended, that should a nation such as Russia lose a conventional war, it could trigger a nuclear conflict. This is what I'm saying. This is what you're watching. Imagine in anything, religious zealots. Think of, anybody in the Middle East, okay? Allahu Akbar, or whatever it is, they're going to war because of it's their religious belief. Now, about 10% of the Russian population is strong, strict Russian Orthodox. And they've just been given permission, if you will, by the church to participate in this. Like I said at the top, it's not something that you necessarily have to not something you should freak out about at all. Please go on with your life, okay? Go to the store, go to the kids' ball game, go on vacation, do whatever you do, okay? But keep this in the back of your mind, that if this Russian-Ukraine thing, which nobody, including me, has talked about for months, starts getting a little bit more hot, let's use that as a term, Russia's not against using nuclear weapons, and they have some that we can't stop. Well out.